What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today, and for the next little while, we're going to be reacting to the conspiracy theory Iceberg. I clicked on it thinking, okay, this will be pretty cool to react to, only to find out it's 9.5 hours long. So I figured maybe we'll be able to tackle a part today, maybe a second part, but I'm not entirely sure. Some people know I'm actually a Freemason, so I don't have anything on me to prove that at this point, but take my word for it. So, I'm ready to see what and how we control the world.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Conspiracy Theory Iceberg. In this series we will look at everything from ancient cults and concepts of old world gods, to theories of intelligent life among the stars and beneath our feet, to government conspiracies and secret missions to hide the world from forbidden knowledge, and of course, giant humanoids existing in the caverns within the hollow earth. If you can imagine anything from unfathomable to weird, the Conspiracy Theory Iceberg has you covered.
Personally, I love all this shit. I know exactly what he's talking about. I'm a huge conspiracy theorist. Like, I love looking up this stuff. It's just fascinating to let your mind roam. Personally, I don't believe all of it. Some of it probably true. I mean, in reality, crazier things happen, man. Crazy things happen. So I'm interested to see what Mr. Wendigoon has to say.
Now, as many of you probably know, this is a series that I finished a few months ago. However, in the beginning, this was the series that jump-started my channel. And I understand that it can be a lot to go back to the beginning now and then watch the whole thing from square one. So to make it a bit easier for you, I made this video where I took out all of the intros and outros to give you one straight run-through of the entire series. Now, like I said, I began this series right whenever I was starting out on YouTube. Because of that, I really didn't know what I was doing from a presentation or technical angle. So because of that, the first couple videos in the series are just me talking into an iPhone camera with no microphone. And I totally understand if that's too amateur or grating for you, so to make it a bit easier, in the description I have put timestamps for where each original video began and left off at. So if you don't feel like you want to sit through one of the videos, you can go to the timestamp and skip forward to the next one and see if it's any better. But I can confidently say, given the vast amount of topics and insanity that this iceberg covers, I know there's something in there for you. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy the series, but first of all, and as always, thank you for watching. Boy, am I excited. So there's been this image floating around for a while called the Iceberg Conspiracy List. And for those of you that don't know, it is a picture of an iceberg, and on it there are several separate tiers that gauge conspiracy theories from how known they are to how unknown they are. I'll actually throw it up now so you can look at it. As you can see, it is huge. There are several variations.
I wish I could see it better from here.
I think this one is the best, not only because it is the most well structured, with different tiers and specifics for what each tier means, but it also is the most comprehensive. As I tried to find research for this, I'm telling you, there was none. Like, no one had done a full breakdown of it.
That's
There's
true.
a couple people who did one or two, and then after researching it, people were saying that everyone who did full reviews of it was having their videos taken down. So we'll see what happens. So I decided
conspiracy theory about a conspiracy theorist video.
What I'm going to do is, because this thing is huge, every one of these phrases can lead you down an entire rabbit hole of research and investigation.
He's absolutely right, and that's the bad part. There's so much, from 9/11 being an inside job to the moon landing being fake to Area 51 to our bodies being celestial beings trapped inside of our iron that we came to this planet through a portal known as the vagina. There's so much, man. So freaking much. You'll waste all your time on it too, but it's fun.
Some of them are well-known stuff like UFOs or Bigfoot, but as you get into some of these later ones, it gets creepy. Like, you drag over some pretty scary ones like human flesh markets or children trapped in floors and things such as, but once you get really far into it, like tier 9, tier 10 stuff, it gets like God's ego death, or the universe was created as a test, and things like that.
Yeah, like simulation theory. Um, God, man, there's so much, like the death of your own ego. A lot of people feel like they have a spark of the divine inside of them, so you have to kill your ego so that your true self will shine through.
That have like these whole networks and stories behind them, but just aren't commonly known. And I'll go ahead and say right now, none of what I'm talking about means I believe it per se. I'm simply conveying what the conspiracy is because I think it's cool, and some of these are awesome. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to do a quick run through of the tier 1, and then the next video will be tier 2, and etc. Like I said, the further you go down, the more crazy they get, so this one's pretty much to whet your appetite. Although there is a lot of cool stuff at this tier that I learned in research for this video. Some of the ones we'll get into in later videos are absolutely crazy, like the City of Broken Candles or the Valley of Headless Men and things such as. But like I said, I'm going to go through the entire chart, so we're starting with tier 1. The title and description for tier 1 is Crazy Head, and the description reads, mainstream conspiracies and unsolved mysteries.
Okay.
Most of this stuff is well documented and known to a good portion of the Western citizens. A lot of common theories
All right, let's pause and take a look at it. So, fake news, obviously, everybody knows the news is fake. It's all an agenda. Cryptozoology, that's your Bigfoot, your dragons, any mythical creature like mermaids, sirens. Big Pharma, everybody knows pharmaceutical is a scam anyway. They sell you a pill for your sickness that leads to more sickness. I mean, it just is what it is. Atlantis, everybody knows Atlantis. Nostradamus was a famous fortune teller, future predictor, seer, whatever you want to call it back in the day. Climate denial. Man, I don't know. I don't know, man. Climate change is a natural phenomenon, in my opinion. Chemtrails definitely real because the government does do cloud seeding, which is chemicals. I'm just saying. Vaccines, can't touch that one. UFOs, they're definitely unidentified flying objects. Are they just man-made? What are they? Media control, yeah, definitely, for sure. The Mandela effect, when you look back and something's different. Nibiru, obviously Planet X. Area 51's fake, the moon landing's fake, shape of the earth, blah 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 blah. We could go on and on for days.
May be grouped in broader terms or may not even appear on the chart at all considering their meaning and popularity. Also, quick disclaimer on this first tier, this doesn't really apply to the others, but some of these are so well known or you've heard so many times, I'm not
like
even
Atlantis.
gonna cover them, like fake news or Bigfoot or UFOs. Like, we all get it. I don't need to go into detail about them. But without further ado, let's get into this, and thank you for watching.
The real question are UFOs from outer space? Are they interdimensional? Who knows?
First up, we have Big Pharma. Most of you know about this. It's pretty much just a huge encompassing theory that pharmaceutical companies suppress vaccines and cures that are made in order to make money off of treatment. Next, we have Atlantis. Original records of Atlantis date back to Greek times, I believe, between Sparta and Athens, of a continent located somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. And since they couldn't have got to North America, that would require there to be something in between that has since disappeared or sank. Next up, we have one of the first ones that I didn't know about until getting into this, and that is Nostradamus. Nostradamus was an old philosopher who came up with several of the constellations and discovering the night sky, and it is believed that several of his predictions came true later, such as World War II and the Great London Fire.
There's actually a theory called it's an effect. It's called the Nostradamus effect, and what we're doing is looking back through history and seeing what somebody said was going to happen, and we take what they said and apply it to modern day. So it makes it look like we are actually predicting, or that person was predicting the future. In all reality, it's a lot of not what they said, to be honest.
However, from doing my own research, this is kind of BS because, like, for example, the London Fire, he said that there would be bad things happening in London, and then a bad thing happened in London, so yeah. The Mandela effect. Most of you are probably familiar with this, but it essentially says that there are parallel universes that cross over with each other in mind.
100% true. Everybody knows that Looney Tunes with 2 O's is the correct one, not this one over on the right.
Ways.
Everybody knows it flipped timelines when CERN started up and the Large Hadron Collider. Everybody knows this.
That we're not aware of. For example, those who remember the Bernstein Bears from their childhood may be surprised to know that it's actually the Berenstain Bears, and that several discrepancies like that exist. Like the Monopoly Man has no monocle, and yada yada yada. This is a cool one. It's very deep. It goes on for itself. So if you're interested, check it out. Next is Malaysian Flight 370, which disappeared somewhere over the Indian Ocean. The conspiracy
I don't know this one.
states that there is a U.S. military base there, and more than likely the plane was either hijacked and flying towards it, or flew too close to it, to which the U.S. military shot it down and covered up all evidence.
I could see it.
Although
I could definitely see it.
Practically, I feel that there's a lot of moving parts in that couldn't be kept secret for so long. The GMO conspiracy,
genetically modified
GMOs that are in
organisms
from fast food and markets and things such as, which are.
To be fair, they have to genetically modify food. Because of our growing population, they have to make more sustainable crops that are better resistant to weather, bugs, and all that stuff just to feed people. So GMOs are a thing, but they are a necessary evil.
Used in this conspiracy to cause food shortages and hunger in people, so essentially the whole get the customer addicted idea. Orbs is rather vague. From what I figured out,
spirit
it's
orbs
to the orbs that are seen in photographs when taken in the sunlight.
Ghosts.
So, dust, particles, things such as. But the conspiracy says that it is a paranormal or supernatural occurrence. So yeah. The New World Order, for those that aren't familiar, in the book of Revelations in the Bible, it details that there will be a one world government or one world order in the end times. And this will be in...
So, how does it go? M-A-S-O, where's there's it, basically it spells it's an upside down pentagram on the back of a dollar, and it spells out Mason, and a lot of people think it's Freemason. It could be.
Much more specific detail as we get later on into the Iceberg, but at this tier it's basically just referring to the idea that all governments want to come together to make one government.
Also, the eye at the top is the all-seeing eye of God. A lot of people say it's the all-seeing eye of Lucifer. Who actually knows?
I know I keep advertising later into the Iceberg, but there's good reason for it. Some of the ones down there are
you have to be there. You have to be there.
One world government can be achieved and things such as. So stay tuned. Next is the Nibiru Cataclysm.
Planet X,
Nibiru
baby.
Is a planet, or also known as Planet X, that was predicted by a scientist in 2003 to collide with the Earth in 2003. So
I hate to keep pausing this video, but actually a lot of people, there is potentially evidence for Earth, our solar system, our sun, to be a binary star, and Planet X could be a red dwarf star out there with a orbit around our own star. So there's this theory that it is potential. Everybody knows Nibiru, Planet X, like I said before. Personally, I named my elemental shaman on World of Warcraft Nibiru.
Pretty well debunked, but the term is still used to apply to an idea that a meteor or
also check out Head
any
PE.
other body could hit the planet one day and kill us all. Now we get into the fun stuff. The Bilderberg meetings.
Ooh, the Bilderberg group.
An event that really does happen every year, in which Western economists meet with European governments to discuss capitalism in the West, from all the evidence I could find. Obviously, there are several theories that come from this, especially since the fact the press isn't allowed and there are no notes to be taken. So a group.
Wait until you find out about the Council of Foreign Relations.
Nice. Transhumanism is more of a philosophy than a theory, really. It applies a lot to anarchist rings, oddly enough.
We are already transhuman. It's like Elon Musk says, we go nowhere without our phone because our phone has become part of us. We are no longer human. We are cyborgs.
And it's essentially the idea that humans can be further expounded on or bettered through augmentation of computer parts and cybernetics and things such as BEK, or black-eyed kids.
Oh, black-eyed kids. These fucking creep me out.
Of small children appearing with blacked out eyes. You can follow this rabbit trail pretty far, but pretty much surface level, it's just creepy kids who appear whenever tragedy happens. So people chalk it up to ghosts or extraterrestrials or what have you. Next is Antarctica, which there is
Antarctica. There being an ice wall around Antarctica.
Everything ranging from giant holes appearing in the middle of Antarctica to government bases being down there, to that's where the world elites hide. I mean, you could spin forever on this. So move.
So, oh gosh, what is it? The Nazis had actually done a lot of tests in Antarctica. They called it Newfoundland or something like that. It was like the new land that they were exploring. Apparently, Antarctica also was explored by Admiral Byrd, who flew down there. They found the edge of the ice wall, which beyond that was gold and all type of resources that the government doesn't want us to know about, and that's also the edge of the flat Earth. So,
moving on. Next is the basement tapes. For
I
those
know
of you
this.
who don't know, before the Columbine shooting, the two shooters made a series of videos detailing what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, and generally talking about how they hate people in their school and there needs to be a cleansing and things such as. These tapes still exist, although the conspiracy resides in no one knows who has them. However, randomly portions of them will appear online, leaving people to believe that they're out there, maybe exchanging hands, but no one knows where they're at. Next up, we've got Operation Northwoods. This is a rather well-documented case, but essentially during the Cuban Missile Crisis, there was reports put out by the CIA that said to warrant a war with Cubans and then blame them on Cuba to justify a war.
False flag attacks.
Yep. Next up is PSYOPs. This is also well documented.
Yeah.
Just the fact that specifically the U.S. government as well as other governments.
PSYOPs like MK Ultra, mind control, telekinesis.
Is known to employ psychological warfare from noises to conditions and supply rations and things like that. The Vela incident is an event occurred off the coast of South Africa in 1979. What happened is a system of satellites known as the Vela satellites captured two back-to-back giant flashes for seemingly no reason. However, after reading into it, it was probably just an unsanctioned nuclear test because this satellite system had caught them before and they looked similar.
Okay.
And the whole conspiracy is just because there was no scripted test that day. So yeah, probably just nuke testing. Next we have giants.
Oh, the
While this
Nephilim.
one seems vague, later tiers get into it more specific.
This actually comes from the Bible, right? So the sons of man, the sons of God bred with the daughters of man because they thought they were beautiful, and they bore giants unto the land, men of renown. These are known as the Nephilim. I have been obsessed my whole life with the Nephilim. This Genesis 6, oh god, man, I don't know what it is, but like I've had screen names that are Genesis 666. So there's just something about this passage in the Bible that just captures my attention. It's fascinating.
Specifically, but essentially in the Old Testament of the Bible, there are several references to giants happening, and obviously
David and Goliath.
Doesn't seem to be any. However, this conspiracy, as we get into it later, applies to the deep state and cover-ups and things such as. So I don't want to spoil any of it yet, but this is a good mention that asterisk mark, so to speak. We'll get to it later. Padma McCord is an interesting.
I don't know
one.
this.
There's a lady online by the name of Padma McCord who owns, for some reason, thousands, if not millions, of URLs, which, looking at this on the outside, you'd say, oh, it's some company using the name or whatever, until you go to the URLs and it's just pictures of her face photoshopped onto other women for some reason. And every one of these websites has millions of backlinks to other websites, which someone who knows tech may know more about.
That's strange.
I have no clue why. It's just creepy. The Elisa Lam incident.
I don't know anything about
For
this.
those who haven't trolled around on creepy internet videos like I have, you may not know who Elisa Lam is, but it is a story that is worth your time. She was a college student, I believe, at the Hotel Cecile in California, who for some reason, it's seen in security camera videos, runs onto an elevator, freaking out, keeps jerking around thinking something's following her, runs to her room, and is never seen alive again until she's found 3 days later in the water tank of the hotel. There was never any evidence of a killing, no one was ever found in connection to it, and it is one of the wildest videos ever to watch, knowing that she was never followed and there was never evidence of anyone following her.
That's strange.
It's really strange. I'll leave you to look into this one yourself, but it was one of the first videos I remember that kind of got me into this whole, I don't know, like creepy dark web, whatever. The Terra Calico picture.
I don't know anything
This
about
one's
this
just
either.
sad. There was a woman named Terry Calico who's suspected to be abducted in the early 90s, and then a few months later, a picture of her bound and gagged turned up in a parking lot around the area she was kidnapped. It leaves a lot of questions of why the picture was left there and what any of it means, especially since it was just in some random convenience store parking lot. But like I said, this is just sad.
The crazy part is back then they actually had to develop these pictures, so this person was probably either a photographer and knew how to develop pictures in a dark room, or had it developed at a main place like Walmart or something. That's fucking creepy.
The Mad Gasser of Mattoon. I have never heard of this one before until researching it, but apparently in the 40s there was a series of gas attacks that occurred in Mattoon, Illinois, which investigators mostly chalked up to mass hysteria and people who left their fuel lines running, but everyone who it happened to, which was dozens of cases, claimed that it was an individual that ran up to them and attacked them with invisible gas. So
that's weird.
Yeah, have fun with that one. COINTELPRO. Like Operation Northwoods, this one's pretty well documented and known at this point, but essentially
I've heard of it, I just don't know what it is.
Became a thing. It's evidence of the FBI illegally spying on U.S. citizens to gain information, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, government bad. The Mao-Yale connection.
Never heard of it.
This one pretty much just says that the old communist emperor of China, Mao Zedong, was in...
Oh, hold on. Maybe Mao was a part of the Yale University, and that's why they're teaching communism now in college.
Secret connections with Yale University in ways to indoctrinate students and receive funding from them, and vice versa. From what I've seen, it's mostly just conspiracy jargon, but you can check it out for yourself. The I-70 killer. This is referring in the spring of 1992, there was a series of 6 murders of gas station clerks on the I-70 interstate. And no one was ever caught, but some sketches were given. A serial killer string that went unsolved. The Majestic 12 is a reference to a board member of 12 people put together by Harry Truman in 1947 to recover all alien spacecraft.
Gosh, I knew the name. I just couldn't place what it was, and that pisses me off that I couldn't place what it was.
Information and things such as. This relates back to Area 51, although it's a bit more specific in saying that
all the way to Project Bluebeam,
so to speak, that looks over anything that happens with extraterrestrials. Also, Area 51 was also in this first tier list, but like I said, it's one of those that's so obvious there's no reason for me to talk about it. Red Squads are, again, a pretty well documented government thing that during the whole Red Scare of the 50s and 60s, there were groups of U.S. police officers whose sole purpose was to hunt down communist sympathizers and arrest them for whatever. The Secret was really hard to find information on because it's such a vague title.
The Secret.
Given its italics, I think it's referring to a book that essentially is a self-help book that says, thinking certain thoughts deliberately will change the course of your life.
So that's just like Manifest Destiny or manifestation, the law of attraction. If you think positive thoughts or what you want will come to you. Who knows, man? I don't know. I could just be all spiritual mumbo jumbo.
So, not sure why it's on there, but we're still in tier 1, so whatever. Acupuncture is an interesting one. This relates back
really
to the big
secret
pharma I mentioned at the beginning.
Conspiracy.
And essentially says that acupuncture heals several diseases, but it is purposely put down and not given attention by mainstream media and doctors because it would put them out of business. So it's an interesting rabbit hole to go down. The Max Headroom incident.
This was fascinating. This was really fascinating. Somebody hacked a local radio or TV station and got with this mask on and started harassing people. It was awesome to learn about.
Is something that happened in 1987 in Chicago when 2 broadcast stations suddenly cut out and cut to a video of a man wearing a Max Headroom costume, which is a character from British television, who began talking random jargon and swearing and then had someone spank him on camera, and then the broadcast cut out. What's interesting is that there's never been anyone named a suspect, there was never any evidence found, and it's pretty much become a whole Reddit thread trying to figure out who this person was, what happened, and name them. So it's an interesting mystery to go on, but from everything I could find, it was just 2 guys messing with the media. And then for the last one I'm going to cover in Tier 1, we have
The
the UN
United
Agenda.
United Nations
This is
agenda.
pretty much just
One world government.
relates to Agenda 21 and other conspiracies, which I'll talk about more in later tiers, but the idea that the UN is trying to build itself towards a new world order. Tier 2's title is Deep
That was tier 1 of the Iceberg. If you guys like this content, let me know, because I would love for you guys to jump in on this with me, because I find this stuff fascinating. I think I knew maybe 60 to 70% of this stuff. Some stuff I definitely learned. I don't know if it's all a conspiracy theory, like the lady that died. I don't know if you could really consider that a conspiracy theory, but something strange happened. If you guys enjoyed this content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Come join me next time. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. It doesn't really matter. I'll see y'all later. Peace.